Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Welcome to another video. I'm sitting here in my garage with all the tier 10 SPGs, and I did a little test yesterday. In my sheriff's account, I went out and I played all the tier 10 SPGs to see what the effects of this new patch 1.13 nerf has had on the SPGs, and I'm not going to say happy or sad to report. I'll let you be the judge of this, but my no bullshit, honest opinion is SPGs are dead. Rest in peace, SPGs. It's unbelievable. Let me talk a little bit to you about it, what I think is how they've just been destroyed. And then I'm going to show you some examples, some clips from the games I played. But it was absolutely unbelievable. I have never seen as big a nerf in World of Tanks ever to any tank, let alone a whole tank class. But for example, here you're looking at the T92 HMC, the tier 10 American super SPG, the once powerful SPG, and it is completely utterly useless now. Let's start with the ammunition. For number one, SPGs just don't do any more damage. They don't do damage. They do a minuscule fraction of the damage that they used to do. And of course now they've added 3 shell types. Before the patch, this SPG had a regular HE shell that did a lot of damage. And then if you press 2, you got a special premium HE shell that did a lot of damage but had a bigger burst radius. Well, now it has a regular HE shell that has a smaller burst radius, 12.4 meters, and does less damage. Okay, that's the regular HE shell, and it does stunning. It does less stunning now. The stun duration is between 14 and 35 seconds, but less stunning than before. And then it has another high explosive shell, which doesn't stun at all, that has the potential to do higher damage, but it has a much smaller burst radius, 7 meters. And what I found shooting this shell, because of the inaccuracy of SPGs, where you're shooting across the map and your aim circle is large, you quite often miss by 7 meters, or you're 6 meters away, or 7 or 8 or 9, and you end up doing 0 or very little with this, unless you almost score a direct hit. This shell was utterly useless. The armor piercing shell, the third shell it gets, has very high pen, but the potential damage if you pen has dropped to 750. So 9 times out of 10 you miss and you do 0. The one time you hit and you penetrate, you roll 750 plus or minus 25%. And remember, before the nerf, a direct hit with the regular premium HE would easily do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000 damage with just the regular HE. Now with armor piercing, if you hit and penetrate, and you don't necessarily penetrate, you could do 750. It was just, I'm going to show you the clips in a minute, but let me just go through all of them because I played them all. This one, the once proud damage behemoth, is now, it's been neutered. Okay, this one's, it was almost unplayable. The bat chat, I feel sorry for any of you that grinded this. It's just, this one is, it was bad before, but now it's complete and utter garbage. It just doesn't do any damage, guys. It does no burst radius of 4 when you use the higher damage dealing shell, 4 meters. You almost always miss by 4 meters. I think I shot 3 clips of this stuff, carefully aimed at enemies, and I did 0 on every single shot. And remember, some people are going to have this perk now that when you click the fire button, they know the shell is coming, so they move, and you miss by 4 meters, and you roll 0. And when you press the button, the tracer is on the map. They all know where you are. We'll get to that in a minute. But basically, as soon as you take your first shot, all the light tanks and EBRs know where you are, and they come after you. Right? So SPGs have just been completely shit on. But let me keep my train of thought here and tell you go through them here. This shell was utterly useless garbage. this shell to do 460 damage on a direct pen, you're going to miss 9 out of 10 shots at range. So this shell was useless. The regular shell has a burst radius of 7 meters and 680. Like this doesn't have much more damage potential than a tier 5 SPG. It was garbage, utterly useless, right? This one, the gun carriage, I gotta tell you, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of British, Great Britain. The SPG line is fantastic. It was terrible. It was terrible, and the big killer for this one. Now, each of these shells have different gun arcs, right? So the armor piercing arrives there quicker. This one is medium. This one has the high gun arc, but the British SPG line still has the longest travel time. Takes a long time for the shell to get there. So when you fire the regular stuff, which is, in my opinion, the #1 shell is the best shell on all these SPGs, it takes 4, 5, 6 seconds sometimes to arrive. Well, remember, a lot of people know the shell is coming. And this is going to get, as people learn this, they're going to start training that crew skill, the commander skill, whatever it is, that allows you now to know that you're getting fired on. You'll never hit. You'll never hit. Right? They get warned and they just move. So it was terrible. This one, I'm sorry to say, the German tier 10. This is what I found was happening in the games that I played. Because as soon as you press the trigger and fire, there's a beautiful tracer through the sky that lets the whole team, all 30 people that are playing, know exactly where you are. Like, there's no more searching for tracers for counter battery. As soon as you fire, everyone knows where you are, including the enemy SPG drivers. And it was counter battery city. All the SPGs, get this, they've succeeded in making the SPGs target each other, right? Because as soon as you press the trigger, all the enemy SPGs know he's exactly right there immediately because it's so clear on the map, and they counter battery you at the beginning of the game. Well, this poor thing is slow. You can't get out of the way. As soon as you fire your first shell in this thing, you're an E100. You trundle along and you move about a foot, and you get counter batteried. You can't avoid counter battery. If you play this, you're going to get counter batteried on your first or second shot. You're going to be dead. It's just horrible, right? And again, the same sort of shell, 900 damage. These two shells don't. Same shit with the shells. Funny enough, and I know you're going to say, Claus, oh, you're always talking about Russian bias, but I have to talk about Russian bias because this one was the best one by far. Of course, Russia, Mother Russia still rules. Why? Well, because it's counter battery city now. You know exactly where the enemy SPGs are as soon as they fire, and this thing was just a beast at counter battery because the shell arrived so quickly. And this one is laser accurate. So, funny enough, I know there's gonna be some of you in the comments saying, Claus, you're always talking about Russian bias. But funny enough, in the new meta now, because this, you guys can test them, but this one, I mean, the aim time, it says 3.6 seconds aim time for an SPG. That's better than some heavy tanks, right? But in actuality, when you target a new target with this, the bloom is not that big, and the aim circle shrinks very quickly, and you hit bullseye after bullseye after bullseye with this SPG. And before 1.13, the reason was you were very accurate, but you do less damage, right? Some of the other tanks, like especially the American one, a lot of damage but very inaccurate, and it relied on its big burst radius. So they haven't changed the accuracy and the play style of these things. They've just reduced all the damage. So the American one gets shit on because the burst radius is smaller. The burst radius on the #2 shell is even smaller. The AP shell requires a direct hit. The American one has been neutered, right? But this one, the Russian one, has a laser accurate gun. So the AP shell is actually an option because you hit most of your shots. This shell is actually an option because you have such a laser accurate gun, and the shell arrives so quickly, and people don't have time to get out of the way. So this shell is actually an option, and this shell is overall, the best shell still, in my opinion. This is also the best SPG to counter battery other SPGs, because if you're driving this hunk of garbage and you fire, and this guy wants to counter battery you, his shell will arrive before you move an inch, and you're dead. So Russia wins. Russia is the is the best SPG, and call me crazy. I just say it like it is. This is a no bullshit channel. I played all of them. I'm giving you my opinion, and it's not accidental. It's not accidental, guys. That of course the one that comes out on top is the Russian one. It was initially the most accurate, but didn't do a lot of damage. But now they all don't do a lot of damage, and you have to be accurate because your splash radius is smaller, and you have to be accurate, especially with these on all of the SPGs. These two shell types, the high explosive that has the higher damage but no stun, and the AP. You have to be accurate, because if you miss with this one by more than 5 meters burst radius, you do 0, and if you miss with this, you do 0. And I had a lot of 0 rolls. Okay, a lot of 0 rolls. So my opinion is SPGs are dead. Rest in peace. You guys can decide whether it's a happy thing or a sad thing. I know there's probably about 20-30% of the player base that plays SPGs. Unless you're masochists, I can't understand why you'd continue to play. You probably just stop playing. If you only played SPGs, just find a different game to play. Wargaming should have just removed them rather than do this, in my opinion. The other thing is I think this change was kind of not very well thought out. Maybe it was rushed through, because they left other things like the campaigns. A lot of us, or a lot of you, are still trying to get some of these reward tanks. If you're on this, you're trying to get the Object 260 and you're trying to do the SPG missions. Well, you're at this mission. You have to stun enemy for 200 seconds in total. How are you going to do this mission now? I couldn't come close. You get less stun on your number 1 shell. You get less burst radius. If you use the number 2 or the number 3 shell, there's no stun at all. If you want to do more damage, and you use the number 2 shell. So 2 of your shell types don't do any stun, but they didn't modify any of the missions, right? I'll just show you one here, but there's all of these missions have become much, much, much harder. They didn't adjust the missions. Yuri! We have to change SPGs, but we may require to change missions, no? Oh, well, we have 23 new premium tanks we need to sell first, and then we will update missions. Maybe patch 1.15 in 2024, we will update missions. It's just stupid to me, but that's an aside. Let me show you the clips, and we'll have some fun watching the clips, and you guys be the judge. This is a typical shot with the number 1 ammo. Now remember, the burst radius has been decreased, and the alpha's been decreased. In the past, before the nerf, this shot would have been 300-400 damage. That was close. 54 damage. 54 damage with the SPG with the biggest gun in the game. Okay, here's another example of a shot with the number 1 ammo. This is the ammo with the largest burst radius and the splash potential. I'm going to shoot right next to this T30. 68 damage. 68 damage. That was close. It wasn't a direct hit, but before the nerf, that would have been a 250, 300 damage shot. 68. Okay, so why don't I switch to number 2 ammo now? Number 2 ammo has higher damage potential, but remember, it has a very small burst radius now. So I've got number 2 ammo loaded in this game, and this is the first game I've ever played in the T92, and which resulted in 0 damage. It was a shit show game. It has nothing to do with the gameplay, but here we go. There's the first shot. 0. And because I missed, well, there's no stun because it's number 2 ammo, and because I missed by more than 7 meters, 0. All right, let's watch the second shot of the game. Okay, I'm lining up for my second shot. Now my second shot, I say, okay, I have to aim, I have to aim. I have number 2 ammo loaded, no stunning, and a very small blast radius. So I'm thinking, well, do I put the shell in between these two guys? The game says no, you miss. You're an inaccurate gun. You have very small blast radius. 0! 0! The number 2 shell is just the way this SPG plays. You're gonna miss most of your shots, and you're gonna do 0 a lot. So I have to make a count. Okay, I have to make a count. I have to aim my shots. Just aim your shots properly, Claus. I've got the shell that does the most damage. Let's do one perfectly aimed shot here on the side of a Super Conqueror. It can't get better than this, guys. It can't get better than this. Look, totally aimed. That was close. 0! 0! I found that shooting that second HE shell that has no stun and a small burst radius to just be so risky, because even a slight miss results in 0 damage. So the number 2 ammo, I probably, unless you're absolutely sure you're going to hit, is not a good choice. Now in this game, I loaded the armor-piercing shell because, okay, if we can actually hit someone and penetrate, we can do a lot of damage. Now let's look at this shot here. Let's pause it right here. What do I have? I have 372 penetration. 372 penetration on this armor-piercing shell, with the potential of doing 750 damage. All right? And I've got an STRV with 40 millimeters of armor sitting there, stationary in siege mode. This is as good as it gets. Let's aim. Let's aim. Let's aim. How much damage are we going to do?
Critical hit.
It's no fun for you! I managed 1 hit here, guys. I managed 1 hit with the AP shells. And it does do damage if you hit and penetrate. But look at the amount of damage, all right? This is a very risky shell to shoot. If you miss, you do 0. And if you hit, you might bounce, as we saw. But if you hit and penetrate, how much damage do you do? Let's have a look here. I'm gonna actually connect with 1 shot. Come on, pop up, Mr. Little Tank that's on the left there. It's gonna be any second now. Where is he? Where is he? There he is. It's an FV 215B183, and we pen him. 694. That's a good hit. That's a good hit. But remember, if I scored a direct hit on that tank before the update with the regular HE with the big burst radius, the splash, I probably would have done 500, 600, 700, 800 damage anyway, pre-nerf. So now I have to score a direct hit and pen to do what I would have done before anyway on any given hit with this tank. Oh well. Okay, take note now, I'm playing the Bat Chat Tier 10 artillery. The damage is minuscule, but take note of the counter battering that's going on here. It's just ridiculous because remember, as soon as you pull the trigger, everyone knows exactly where you are. So you have to move immediately. Now I take a shot on Object 705A. Of course the shell doesn't hit, and I do a whopping 199 damage. And the counter battery shell lands behind me. There it is, landed behind me. Now I'll take another shot on 2. Let's see if can I stun both of them? Can I do anything? This guy's gonna drive right into my shot. Let's go, drive right into my shot. 110. And there's the counter battery. If you don't move now, you're dead immediately. You don't believe me? You don't believe me? Well, if you don't move, you will get counter batteried. In this particular case, I'll show you 2 things. I've loaded the AP shell, armor piercing shell, to try and do, maximize my damage to hit these slow targets. But just the nature of SPGs, you're going to miss most of the time. I've got the side of a mouse. I take the shot. I take the shot. I take the shot. Come on, guys. There's 2 of them. The shell's going to hit one of them. Take the shot. He moves. I missed. I'm frustrated. I didn't move my tank. Counter battery. Well done, T92. The one SPG that I found to be the most playable after this nerf was, of course, the Russian one, and I don't think it's accidental. Not that it does more damage. I'm not saying that it does more damage, but it is, in my opinion, in this meta, going to be the most user-friendly one to play. It reloads fast. It's very accurate. It has a very fast aim time, and the shots, they hit bullseye almost all the time. You can move around and change your aiming, and your aim circle is very small, and your shots hit what you aim at. That wasn't a hit. It was about 300 damage in the post-game stats on that heavy tank. You have a fast reload. You move around, and because of the shell velocity and your shell getting there quickly, this is the best SPG for counter battery. You're going to hit an E100 a second after he shoots. When you aim, you typically hit bullseye. You make shots like this. When your shots almost always hit bullseye, the number 2 shell that requires almost a direct hit to do more damage, and the APCR shell, the armor piercing shell, become more relevant with this one. Okay? And I just found that it was the most user-friendly one. You can aim, you shoot, your shells go where they... Look how small the aim circle is. Right? So even though you just don't miss by as much, reducing the damage on this one hasn't killed it like the T92. Now the changes, generally reducing the splash radius, requiring 2 of the shells to almost have direct hits to do damage, simply favors the SPG that's the most accurate, which is this one. The T92 has been crushed because it relied on its big splash radius to do damage. Most of the shots you fire in a T92 miss, and now that splash radius has been reduced. I have a regular number 1 shell here. Look how small my circle is. That's a direct hit. That's about a 400 or 500 damage hit. Because this one's the most accurate. It doesn't do the most damage, but it's the most accurate, so it's the least affected by the reduced burst radius. Take a shot on the back of an AX-50B, 296 damage. That's with the number 1 shell. So I switched to the number 3 shell, the armor penetrating shell here, to try and get a shot. And can we hit with the AP shell? Can we hit with the AP shell? Let's aim, 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 aim. Make the shot count. Can we feather it in there? Come on, get in the right position for me. Can you get in the right position for me? I may be able to hit him. I may be able to. This is as good as it gets if you can land. Can I land the shot? Come on, let's do it. I gotta readjust here. I gotta readjust. When you're shooting the armor piercing shell, it has to be a direct hit. If you miss, you'll do 0. If you hit, you're going to penetrate and do some shots. Or do some damage. Let's try and make this count. Can we actually get a hit? Can we get a hit? Of course we can. It is Russian SPG. Just move a little bit forward. You want to move forward. These are not the tanks you want to fight. You want to move forward. Yes. You want to move forward. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Sit right there. Boom! That was a direct pen. I think that was 400 or 500 damage. And now... I'm pretty much dead, right? No! I'm Russian and I can ram you to death because Russia rules! Yes! Russia! Go, Russia! Run! I've got guys on my ass! I am the Russian SPG! T92, you are an American SPG. You suck now! I am Russian. I am super powerful. I will fight Object 277 by myself. I have AP shell loaded. AP shell loaded, yes. Oh, Object 277 is coming. I have AP shell loaded. Ready? Huh? Huh? Papadanya! Yes, Papadanya! 500 damage! Run! Russia! 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 Get out of the way, stupid American SPG! Russia! And that's all I've got to say. This is a Russian game! In case you didn't know! So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. In my honest opinion, SPGs are dead. Rest in peace. Let me know whether you think this is a happy thing. If you're not an SPG player and you hate SPGs, you're probably very happy about this overall nerf. And if you were an SPG player, or if you're working on some key SPG missions to get yourself a reward tank, you're probably pissed off. all in all, I think it's a shit show. Let's just call it what it is. It's a shit show update that was just. I have never. Let me end it off here. I'll just say I have never, and I've been playing almost since beta. I have never witnessed a bigger nerf to an entire class of tank ever in the history of World of Tanks. Let alone a nerf of one tank. I've never seen a nerf this severe ever. So SPGs, you're dead. Rest in peace.